Setting up the meeting. Redirecting. And here we are. Hello, I'm Diana. I'm in the UK and I'm a coach. I do this work because I love people and I want to help them create more in their lives for themselves and improve their lives. Today, I'm talking with Felipe. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Diana.
You're welcome.
I always really like to talk to you. What would you like to know about me?
Well, what made you go into coaching?
What made me go? That's a good question, and in a way, I never knew how to answer it properly because
Cool. I like difficult questions.
no, but it's interesting because it feels to me that since I was a kid, I've always wanted to understand what made people tick. I have a little memory of when I was a kid, adults telling me that my opinion didn't really matter. So my way of dealing with that was, okay, if my opinion doesn't really matter, then I need to listen to them a bit more. I need to try to understand their world a little bit more. So I became one of those kids that doesn't really talk so much and just really listens and I learned to be curious kind of by force, by necessity. So from that moment on, I felt like I always wanted to understand how people work and what motivated it. And I never could really grasp why would people be so angry at each other and getting to a very low stage of communicating and being mean and all that. I was like, wow, I couldn't understand as a kid. And then I had my own struggles with anxiety when I was a kid, and I couldn't really function properly. Had trouble talking with people, had trouble to communicate, to express a little bit of myself, to express my opinions, because I kind of learned that what I had to say didn't really matter that much. And at some point, I got over that, and I was always curious to understand why was that, and what made people overcome stuff, and why is it so that a lot of people can experience the same thing, the same circumstance, whether it is to lose a job, whether it is to go speak in public, whether it is to start a business, whether it is to whatever, being in traffic, for example, and one has one experience.
Yeah.
And it can be one of feeling like a victim of circumstances. Oh, why things happen this way to me? Why can't life be different? And just feeling like a victim, feeling insecure and feeling like life is too hard. And another person can be super empowered and no, you need to think positive and just kind of having that energy. And another person just feeling like, meh, it's okay. It's just traffic. It's just something through life. So that always fascinated me. Some people really seem to struggle through life, and other people seem to have it all together, even though probably we all know that they don't. And others just seem so much at ease, just peaceful, just in the midst of fear and insecurity and troubles. They just seem to just go on with ease in life. And I always was very curious at that.
I think the chill people have it better together, to be fair, because they don't go to extremes. They're just there and it's all good. Somehow it feels that way to me, but that's just based on the people that I know. So it's just my sample of the population. Well, those who are really calm, life just happens and it's good.
It seems to me that the more chilled out I am, it's not that stuff doesn't happen to me. It's just that I accept my low moods more. I accept my fear more. I accept my nervousness more. I accept the voice in my head that says that I can't do something more.
Yeah.
So if I can really embrace the low points, then why can't I just live in whatever way I want, right?
The most profound moment for me has been when you and I were talking, and you were talking about you can pay attention to a dog that's begging for food or not. And since then, every time I felt really stressed or anxious about things, I always had this thing, it's like the dog, I don't have to pay attention to it, and I could frequently just move on, and it's been really good. That's the one thing that's been sitting with me ever since we talked about it. It's been really nice. So the dog.
I love it because of the analogy that you came with by yourself, just by talking a little bit about this, you know?
Yeah.
And I love this in the conversations with coaches. Another thing that I love about coaching is that I'm not telling people what to do. I'm kind of trying to point them to how our mind works and kind of like principles like you're talking about on just paying attention, and whatever we pay attention, it just grows. And then they start to have their own insights. They start to, okay, so it's like my dog, and like, so I love about that as well.
Yeah, those things are just really, really cool. I have another question. What has been the most profound experience with coaching for yourself? Because I'm sure you've been coached.
I tell you what, I think it was my very first coach, which I didn't even pay anything to him. He gave one of those free sessions at first.
Nice.
It was 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly what was that I was trying to talk, what was the issue that I was bringing him. But I just saw that, okay, this guy seemed like he has his shit together and he can help me to grow or whatever in my life, in my professional life, whatever. And somehow we had a great conversation. At the end, he told me, what are 3 things that you can do based on what we talked about, based on the insight that you had? And in that moment was kind of like a crossroad, because in that moment I felt like, okay, this is the deal. Like I've been always avoiding fear. I've always been avoiding something that I'm afraid to do, and for a long time. And this is the moment where I want to prove him and to myself that I'm able to do the thing that I'm scared of doing. That was the moment where I decided to start sharing my opinions online. That was
a big one.
That for a lot of people can seem like it's nothing, but for me, who kind of like, if you get this that I told you in the beginning, that I kind of grew up with this, my opinion doesn't matter. It was really hard for me to make that decision on start writing my opinions online and what I think about life. About was usually something related more to philosophy and stuff like that. And 2, to record videos about that. So I started recording videos on YouTube about that. Complete shit. I didn't care. I just
That's irrelevant,
that, right?
Yeah.
And I had a lot of hesitation, a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear on expressing myself.
Yeah.
And that for me, and I still to this day, I still post stuff, and I still, for me now it's natural to just express my opinions, express the things that I feel like it's important online. But it was really, really hard for me in the beginning. And I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm doing a similar journey just years later, because I'm trying now. And it's the Facebook Lives like I'm doing now that I found helped me the most. Just writing something is less, because people just comment on it, and sometimes they comment stupid on it. But this is, I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's thinking that I'm full of shit, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, it's good.
How are you feeling now?
I'm actually all right. It's quite fun talking with you. Most of these talks are just really fun to do. And then my brain just, doesn't pay attention anymore to who might be watching. So it's good. Yeah. It's just having a good talk with someone. It's just fun. Have you had a really profound experience with a client with coaching? Where you get this thing, whoa, their will just changed.
It's funny because every time that I think about a question like that, I usually think that it's with the client that I'm in at the moment. I don't know. Maybe it's because I get so much into their world to help them in their journey that usually I have more in my attention than.
That's fair.
So I'll tell 2. So one is this guy that I'm coaching right now, that he is. Is an investor, And he came to me because he was having a lot of anxiety and stress around dealing with money and dealing with his work, which is by nature very, a roller coaster. Some days you earn a lot of money, some days you lose.
Yeah.
And he was getting very caught up into this roller coaster where it was affecting his emotional well-being. He was just all over the place.
Yeah.
And we had a few conversations, a few sessions, but what was really, really cool for me is that I did an intensive with him where we stayed for 3 days having a bunch of conversations online. It was, I think, 10 hours. So it was really an intensive where I was pretty much just sharing with him. I was exploring with him what I know about how our mind works and getting to see it in his own life and apply that to money. So in other words, how money doesn't make us happy. How having more or less money doesn't necessarily make a person more or less happy. Otherwise, you would see poor people always miserable and rich people always happy.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
So it looks a lot like that. And it looked a lot like him, that's how it worked. But as we were exploring all of this theme around money, and at the end of the intensive, we didn't talk for about a month, I think, afterwards. He was like, I'm clear. Like that was all that was needed for him. He was, clear. I don't need anything. Like he had such a common sense way of seeing life and seeing his work that was it. That was it. And this is the best thing. Like that for me was great because why was that surprising? Well, because it was just an intensive. And I thought, okay, we need to really work on this for like a few months and so on. That was like just 3 days. And he came out of that with an insight, with a more chilled out, more clarity of mind.
Cool.
And I really liked that. And the other one was a woman that I coached a long time ago. I think was when I was just starting. That we just had in the middle of the first session. I was listening to her talking about, she was going through a very hard time. I think she was about to get homeless because she lost her job. And I was just listening. I was just kind of trying to be as present as possible with her. And then at some point, I started to feel a very intense feeling in my chest. I was like, maybe sorrow, maybe, I don't know what it was. It was just, I started to feel an emotion here. And then I told her, I'm feeling something in my chest. Do you feel something similar? And she stopped. And then she put her hand on her chest, and then she started crying. Because she was really feeling a lot in her chest. And then later on, after she cried a lot, she told me, I haven't been listening to my heart for a long time. And just this awareness of this constriction here helped me to connect back to my heart. And then she was clear. And then she was
beautiful.
I know what to do with my work. I don't need these conversations anymore. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I found those to be the best conversations where you get to a point of, oh, and then can we stop now? I need to sit with this for a while. I've done that. I remember doing that with you at some point. That I just, no, we need to stop now. That was really interesting back then. I don't even know what the thing was anymore, but it was really good.
Yeah.
It was one of those really intense moments where my world changed.
And I'm still learning how to not keep coaching people after that moment, how to just back off, because it's exactly what you said. Like what people need is just a time off to reflect, to digest.
Sit with it. It's one of those things. I find it hard as well because at that point I want them to really feel it instead of stop.
Yeah.
Because I want to know they're feeling it. I don't want to have this idea of maybe I didn't do a good job. But yeah, most of the time it really works for them. And depending a bit on the client, they'll also be very clear about it. Because not all of them are, but some of them are really clear. As in, okay, no, we're done now. We're done for today. We talk another time again. So it's been good. Have you learned anything yourself from a client, a very interesting or whatever?
From
Something that was almost an insight for you, or an insight for you that you learned from a client that they had. Because I have sometimes had that I saw the client have an insight and it happened to me kind of at the same time as, oh, wait, which has been really cool as well.
I'm not sure anything specific. I'm always learning as I'm doing it. I'm always learning.
Yeah,
For example,
definitely.
the thing that you just said is, you know, I want them to feel it. I want it to be a good call for them, and so on, so on. But that's actually when we think a lot about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to know if I'm doing a good job. Let me try.
Yeah, let me try a bit harder.
So I feel like the thing that I learned the most is to leave myself in the background.
Yeah.
Leave the me in the background. Like it's not about me, it's completely about them.
Yeah.
And even in situations where and this for me, like there's an example. When I a lot of time or sometimes when I would coach when I still coach people that they come up with issues around emotions and the psychology that I'm thinking, this person would probably be better with a psychologist, with a therapist, and not with a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And before I was, no, let me try to fix it. Let me try. But, there comes a moment where I start to realize this is not about me.
Mm-hmm.
This is about them and how can I serve them as best as I can right now. And maybe what they need is an accountant. Maybe what they need is a therapist. But it is not a coach,
Mm-hmm.
So and that's just one example. Another example again is will this person get the result they're looking for? Will I be a good coach? Will I know what to do? Will I know the questions to ask? All of this is can I curse here?
Oh yeah, sure. It's my wall that you're ending up on.
Cool. All of this for me now is just bullcrap because the more that I am self-conscious, the less I'm paying attention to them, the less I'm listening to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like that for me has been one of the biggest lessons.
Yeah.
And in turn, of course, like I can't remember right now a specific one, but in turn, of course, that because I'm listening so much to them, I am seeing how amazingly resourceful people are.
True.
To figure out their own insights, to figure out an answer to their own questions.
Yeah.
And this has helped me to carry it on to other relationships outside of my profession.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm talking with another person now, just friends or people that I just meet, that they're going through a hard time, I'm not going to coach them, like unless there is an agreement there.
Yeah, of course.
But what I realize is I can just be there with them and ask the questions that I'm curious to ask, genuine questions, because they will unwind themselves naturally.
Yeah.
Like they're made to unwind, and then we get unwind up again, and then we unwind again.
Yeah.
So just seeing that over and over and over again, where like I don't have to tell people what to do, they figure out themselves what to do and what's important in their lives and where they should pay attention and where not. Then of course, like in a conversation, a coaching conversation, a lot of times I tell people like, you have been focusing on your insecurity, on your fears for too long. Do you want to pay attention to that? Right? Take them to like a day of action where they just take action over and over and over and over again. Like that's very helpful. That's kind of like a little push, but but people are innately resourceful and they are intelligent. People are amazingly intelligent, but for their thinking that they cannot do something, but for their thinking that they are insecure and they are made that way, they're gold.
Yeah, there's this saying that I have quoted here. It's whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you're right. And it's true. When someone thinks they can't do it, they won't do it because they think they can't do it. But when they know they can, they will do it. It's literally that simple, which is also really hard. Because wrapping your head around that is not easy.
But you know what? Like I've been reflecting also on this quote, and I think there is something even beyond that, which is whether I believe I can or I can't, I won't know until I try and I see the
That's also true. Yeah.
because there were a lot of things that I believe I couldn't do it. Like in the past, I believe that I couldn't do the sharing myself online or the recording videos or do the coaching or helping people in a way that's impactful for their lives.
And there you go.
I didn't believe I was able to do that, but somehow I always had this voice, because everyone has it, that says, "Oh, that has a bigger perspective." Well, maybe I can try. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Like my disbelief in myself is not set in stone. Like, it's just a thought.
Yes.
It's just a negative thought about.
Well, you first need to learn that, because when you don't know that it's just a thought and you believe what your thoughts are telling you, you're stuck
Exactly.
until you change that point of view. Because
Exactly.
I know I was there, and I know you changed that for me to realize, okay, it's a thought. I'm watching a movie. What else is there?
Right.
Too many mind. I was still stuck with that one as well. Too many mind. And I still have my snow globe, because they all work. Every time I see the snow globe and I think I can't do it, then I wait.
Yeah.
And I've gotten another philosophy now as well that says anything worth doing is worth doing badly, because you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So when I do it badly, I can do it better next time and better the next time. That's what I'm doing with these talks as well. I just keep doing them until I maybe do it really well at some point, and maybe not, but I'll still do them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, now there's quite some. I still have the quotes here hanging on my thingy, just to make sure I don't forget. Not that I'll forget them, but just reminders. They're good.
Yeah.
It's still the word movie and too many mind, and then the dog name.
And like listening to you say this, like it came up to my mind how, again, if people that are watching and us really stop to think about this, if I have all of this disbelief in myself that I created for a lifetime,
Yeah.
and it's all of these ideas of what I can do, what I cannot do, what I'm bad at. Well, like, oh no, I cannot try this thing because people are gonna think I'm crazy or think I'm stupid or full of shit or whatever. And so pretty much we build this idea about me, right? Like me, and me can do this, me cannot do this, me can.
Yep.
And what we are talking about here is very profound, because it's pretty much like, forget about me. For like, beyond all of this story that we have about ourselves, there is this capacity to show up at any moment and to respond with common sense to whatever is in front of us.
Yep.
And this is crazy, because whenever I am really nervous to do something, right? I was nervous to have this conversation with you. I noticed a little bit of nervousness, right?
I had it too.
And to give some public speaking, to coach another person that I never coached before, to go talk to that whatever new networking little group that I never talked before. Whatever it is in people's minds, they think, oh shit, that oh shit thought, that oh shit.
Yeah.
Right? That, like, understanding that is just our conditioning. We can take action in life with that. Like put that in the backpack and let's go anyways.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's so freeing.
Yeah. One of these things I have learned over time. It was something that I kind of realized with the talks with you, but couldn't act upon at the time. And now every time I have an oh shit, I have to say, wait. This is not real. And then I start thinking about the movie and the too many mind, and I say, all right, let's just try. And it works. It works every time again. So it's been really fascinating.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's quite fascinating how the coaching talks with you continued kind of rolling around in my head and doing things for me. It's not stopped. It's funny that because it's months ago, but it hasn't stopped.
No.
They're still sort of happening, just in a different way.
Yeah. And for me too. It's pretty much, it seems like pretty much what all that I've done is to point you towards where do you have insights. Then as long as you keep looking, you're going to continue having insights.
Yeah.
And the more that I keep looking, I also continue to have insights about the same stuff. I'm like, oh, this too is just my thinking. Oh, like every time it's the same. just deeper.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
had quite a few the last months again. It was for a while a bit more quiet, but the last couple of months with getting to know different people, doing different things, it's been again of a there's so much more out there, and there's so much in my head that's telling me the wrong things because it
Yeah.
feels like they're the wrong things because I can do whatever I want. I don't have to stop myself. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been really good. Is there anything else that you feel like talking about? Because I'm done with my questions.
Oh, I don't know. What do you think that the people listening to would benefit from, like, what do you think that they would find useful?
I think they find the conversation that we've had useful already, so it's been
Okay.
pretty good for sure. I actually have no idea because I'm not sure who's going to watch this. Right now, I don't think there's anybody watching because I haven't checked that. But usually it builds up, to about 50 to 75 views, and then I think, whoa, and I get comments, which is also interesting. So, yeah, I don't really know.
Well,
Anybody can contact you for sure. I'm sure about that. If anybody has this thing of, oh, yay, I think he might be a good coach for me, then
yeah,
I'll tag you. Then
yeah.
it will also show up on your feed.
Cool. Yeah. For anyone interested in contacting me, you can reach me out through Facebook or
Mm-hmm.
access my website, which probably is better for you to just put the link. Probably mostly
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll
to
do that. I
to,
have
to
it somewhere.
it's all in Portuguese. My name is my entire name.
Yeah. You
Um,
have a long name.
yeah, I do. But yeah. What else? I don't know. I'm happy to talk to you about whatever you're interested. But if it's time to end, it's time to end.
Well, we've been talking for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Mm.
It's a nice length for a Facebook Live, I've been told.
Mhm.
Not that I really care, because some of them have been much longer. But...
Well, I'm curious. Okay, then I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay, cool. Go for it.
Um, what has been the thing that you have learned the most through this profession so far?
A couple of things. One thing is that I've found that most of the people I work with mirror me in some sort of way.
Hmm.
So I have a couple of people that I work with who want to grow their business. They're struggling with the things that I was struggling a few months ago with. Then I have also people that I've been coaching that struggle with their moods that I realize, yeah, I was there about 6 months ago. So it's been really fascinating to see that they mirror me in various ways. And it keeps me growing. And that's been really, really good. I think that's the most important thing that I've noticed, that somehow they mirror me. And
Mm.
the moment I get to that point where I realize what they're mirroring, I work on that as well because it's just
Mm.
cool. So I grow through coaching clients,
Yeah.
which is really interesting.
Yeah. I relate to that. I relate totally to that. Yeah. It's I think that in a way we see who we are everywhere, who we think we are everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's especially cool for me when I think that the people who inspire me the most
Mm-hmm.
can only do that because they have what I have. They just gave themselves permission to express that more and more and more and
Yes.
into that more and more
Yes.
and more.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like I feel like we are seeing ourselves everywhere. It's
Yeah.
just different levels of attention that they spend time in
Yeah.
the, that we've spent time or not
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been really interesting to work with more people, because I have been working with some more people over the last months, which has made it really, really cool. Some with health issues, some with emotional issues, some with work issues, and it's all kind of similar to what I've dealt with or I'm still dealing with. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious also to know. Well, now I'm turning the tables here.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. The first talk, it was completely turning tables, which was cool. That was with a friend of mine, Colby. He's really fun. And I had this thing, cool, you take the lead. Then I didn't have to do it.
Now I'm really just curious to know the whole idea on niching, on kind of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the people that whether you really want to work with or whether it is that you just chose to work with this very specific kind of people, and then not. And like how do you see that? I'm curious to know from the lens of another coach, how do you see the niching?
I don't think it's necessary. I think someone has to be a fit. So yeah, what I'd like to do is talk with them first to figure out who they are, so that they get to know me and I get to know them. And when it works, it works. With some people, it won't work. With some people, you just don't have that connection. And when you can't have the connection, it just doesn't work. So I don't really see the point. I see the point when you try to make a sales funnel when you want to sell a certain program or a certain course or something. Then I see the point. But when you're just coaching one-on-one, I don't see the point. But different people have different opinions on that.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I we have a similar opinion. I asked this also because I guess I had the kind of like an avoidance to niching for a long time.
Fair.
And I'm like, I just want to connect with people and see what happens.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about especially the fit that you're talking about. And yeah, I've been wondering what are, if not the niche through demographics, to this person needs to be this years old, this blonde, this color of skin, this, all of these things. Not that, what is it that, can be can be a variable that I can look into people that I'm like, okay, probably this person will be a good fit. Probably
people who struggle. That's definitely a niche you've got. Because otherwise, how would we have ended up talking? Because you do help with struggles. When people are struggling with their own thinking, I don't know how else to explain it, because how do you put that in words?
Yeah.
When you want to ease your thinking, talk to Felipe.
Yeah. One thing that I've been taking a look at as well, because I was reflecting on the majority of the people that I coach through the years, and I realized a pattern. The pattern is that pretty much all of them had a desire, a professional desire, as their career, and they wanted to do something that they really love and monetize that in some way.
Yeah.
And
there you got your niche.
Yeah. And in a way, in the midst of that, feeling very stuck, feeling very, very, very afraid of taking the leap, very afraid of contacting the people, very afraid of getting out of that shell and here I am, the world. Which in turn, this is all a byproduct of their confused, overthinking mind. So yeah, but that's something for us to explore by ourselves as well.
I heard at some point also, I think John said that your niche finds you, you do not find your niche, which also makes sense to me. Because at some point, he's also the one who talks about people have to be a fit, and I totally see how that works. So I haven't made it all up myself. I just listened to people and then put it all together. But it makes sense to me that the people that are good for you to coach will find you. And then at some point you see this pattern, as you've seen now. At some point there's a pattern.
It's
I think I'm seeing some sort of pattern with the people that I've coached.
Like what?
It's women mostly of around my age or a bit younger who struggle with moving on with either their business or in their life, where they are holding themselves back in their thinking. They struggle emotionally, and some is just their business part, but it's not necessarily the business part, because several I've been coaching were really struggling in their own, their relationships with family members, themselves mostly, because when it's your family members, it is yourself in the end.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting to see that it's mostly women around my own age, middle-aged women. But yeah. That's
very cool. Yeah, the niche finds you. Yeah. That's
It's not always been that way, because I've coached some men as well, but it's definitely more women of my age group.
Kind of goes to show that we are seeing ourselves all the time again, right?
Yeah.
And maybe also because that's just more comfortable as well, right?
Probably as well, yeah. Because if it would be someone who's in a completely different world, it will not be that easy.
Yeah. I'm excited for that, actually. Like,
I think you grow into that eventually, that you get someone who's completely in a different world. They have to say, whoa, this will be cool.
yeah.
But I don't think that should be your first client.
Hmm.
But eventually you'll probably get that. I'm sure that Steve Chandler and Steve Hardison have people that they have to say, whoa, that's a very different type.
Yeah. And then it gets back to, I think, what we were talking about on it's not about me. Because this is one thing that I see from a lot of coaches is that, well, first of all, it comes from the definition of coaching itself. Because some people define coaching as I'm the expert, I'm going to show you, advise you, which is just an advisor, is a teacher.
Yeah, that's a consultant, not a coach.
Consultant, right? But if we are talking about coaching from the perspective of I help you come up with the answers by yourself, then I don't have to be more successful than you. I don't have to get my shit together to help. Nope. It's about me asking very present, curious questions that are resourceful for you to find your own answers. I facilitate your entangling in your head.
Yeah.
And for that, I feel like I'll be very excited to coach someone that is completely out of my world. Well, in a way, I have a lot of times, because everyone is living their own worlds. But I know what you mean about completely different culture and different, From the time I do coach some people from, what is it, India or Arabic countries, and it's just a completely different culture and very interesting to really not, and this is something that is for me, it's like to really not assume, to jump into right away. Oh, you meant this, so you mean this. No, like, slow down. What do you mean?
My world's different.
Right? You're in completely different culture than me. How do you see this? How do you see relationships? How do you see men and women? How do you see all these things about work?
Yeah.
So it can be really rich.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things that I want to do at some point is coach a successful businesswoman from the Middle East, because that will be very interesting, because that will be very different in culture and the way her life works. So I'd love to do that. Yeah. I'm not sure where to find her, but it's, now I've put it out there, so she'll come. I just realized what I did. But yeah, that's one of these things that I think that would be really interesting, because you have to really listen then and really, do it different. I can't just, the American and the British culture, that's kind of the same, so it doesn't make all that much difference. But I can't jump to any conclusions then. I can't assume anything, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Right. I think we're kind of done, aren't we? Do you have anything else to say? Because it's been really cool talking.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, let me see how I turn this off then.
Well, but thank you. Before I go, then just thank you very much for inviting me. And
well, thank you for saying yes.
And for everyone
again, not a no.
For everyone watching, if you want to explore anything else deeper, I'm free to talk. I'm free to help.
Okay, I will put your name properly in there and your website properly in the notes with the video. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.